for the look-see here on Happy Hour. Moms always want the best for their babies, of course, but did you know that cotton clothing may be harmful for your child? Pesticides used to fertilize cotton crops may stay in the fabric. Lynda Fassa, author of the book Green Babies, Sage Moms, has some tips for organic clothing and brought all kinds of fun stuff. And of course, she used to be a model. Look at her. She could still be a model. You're gorgeous.
You
and 3
lovely.
kids later?
Thanks.
Oh my goodness. So how'd you come up with the idea for kids' organic clothing? Because you basically came up with this before it started becoming all popular. You're before the times, really.
I've been doing it for almost 15 years. Yes, longer, I think, than anybody else that's doing it now. And, well, I read a story in the New York Times about Texas farmers that were converting back to the way that their grandfathers and even great-grandfathers had farmed because they thought that it was devastating what they were doing to the land. And I really needed a job because I had a new baby, and I had gained
modeling just wasn't happening at that point.
Well, I'd gained 20 pounds with my baby, and I thought, I'm going to make baby clothes out of that. My baby will be the best dressed baby in New York, and everyone's going to understand what I understand.
And the healthiest baby, because tell us, I mean, how bad is it really with, I mean, because we all wear cotton clothing. Is it something that we should really be that concerned about, that pesticides stay in the cotton?
Well, it's not necessarily the pesticides being absorbed through your skin, although we are beginning to understand that 60% of what you put on your skin in terms of cosmetics gets absorbed into the bloodstream, so it may be the same with what's staying in cotton, but it's really that cotton is the second most pesticide-laden crop in the world, and what that means is conventional cotton is 3% of the Earth's farmland, but it utilizes 25% of the world's chemical pesticides and fertilizers. So a lot of the toxins and poisons that we're dropping from planes flying above that are landing in all sorts of places, not just on the crops, are being used on conventional cotton. So there's a better way. It's organic, and actually if you eat snack foods, you're eating a lot of cottonseed oil.
Do you then, you source your cotton straight from the United States? You go find the suppliers yourselves? How do you sort of manage the supply side?
Well, thanks for asking that. That's actually why I started. I was all weepy and estrogen-laden from having my first baby, and I couldn't believe that these people were making this incredible choice, and lots of them were losing bank loans because at that time the U.S. government didn't recognize organic at all as an actual thing. So banks were saying to these farmers, why would you take this risk? And they were risking all of that, really, for all of us. So I did it to support the Texas organic farmer. Now, organic cotton is so popular that sometimes I have to go other places to get it.
Well, you know, the other thing that I found interesting about your story is that you were in department stores and it just wasn't gaining any traction, your products there, until you got a call from Whole Foods. Tell us about that.
Well, when our youngest daughter turned 5, which is about almost 4 years ago now, literally the day she turned 5, I said to my husband, well, we have to try and grow the business now that the kids are going to be out. And Whole Foods Market called us the next day. And in the beginning, we really weren't sure. I mean, they're called Whole Foods, whether they were going to be able to sell clothing, and so we were really honest about that. But as soon as we went in, not only did we sell a huge amount of clothing, because the customer really was looking for natural,
it's better. Right
demographic. But when we opened in the Columbus Circle store, I was standing there one day next to my little set, and they had a little sign that said organic cotton grown in Texas. And there's a lot of tourists in that store. And a whole bunch of big-haired Texas tourists came and said, organic cotton from Texas, I've got to get me some of that.
And
that's what I said. I know, that was it. That was the turning point.
Is it that much more expensive? Because with organic foods, you are paying more. What about for clothing?
Well, remember that organic, until very recently, had no subsidies from the federal government. So that's begun to change because of...
What a shame. Now we're going to start using my tax dollars for organic crops, too?
No, we're already using tax dollars to poison our land and ourselves. So the idea
Don't get me wrong. I know they're using my tax dollars on the farming
industry. But here's the good news. Organic price is actually going way down because it's not petroleum dependent. So those pesticides and herbicides not only have to be shipped and are very heavy because they're heavy metals, but they also come from petroleum. So organic is a non-petroleum dependent way of farming. It's a way that we can begin to let the farmers make a just living again. We can be healthier.
Gotta love health.
Yeah.
All right, guys,
Lynda,
we'll be right back with the mixer. Don't forget, it's Happy Hour.
Let's go!